Hello everybody, welcome back to another Continental Cup match from the Fury of Dracula Digital Edition community. Links down below in the description if you'd like to join. Not the tournament, because that's almost wrapping up, but the community. There'll be more tournaments later in the year. Hopefully starting around end of August, September time, but that'll be decided later. Anywho, we are in the final week of the Continental Cup, and it's looking very good for Team Europe. We have won a lot of the games in the last 2 or 3 weeks or so we're in the lead, and we only need one more point, so basically one more victory to win the whole tournament. So hopefully, if all things go well here for AndreZot on Dracula, we could see the tournament won in this video. But obviously Tarvalar, representing Team USA, will do their very best to stop our little budding Italian vampire over here. Right then, that's not a good start. Oh dear. Right, so it's an island start, and obviously there's no surprises here because the hunters know exactly where Dracula is. That's kind of unfortunate. But never mind, I have to keep my voice down, by the way, because it's a late night recording. I've got a sleeping baby and also a sleeping wife in the room next to me. And if I wake up either or both of them, then there'll be no more videos. And I didn't live stream this just because of reasons. So I've just got a standard recording. But nobody else is recording, I believe. So that's good. We've actually got another game ongoing at the moment, which I want to kind of keep an eye on, but also I don't want to keep an eye on it, in the sense of it's... Because depending on the result of that game, then this game could be completely meaningless. But obviously, I'd rather be kept in suspense, to be honest, that neither of the players nor me know. I might put it in the Discord, actually. Obviously, even if it is a Europe victory tonight, then we've still got 3 games after these 2 to play. I've got a game still to play and a range, actually. So, yeah. Obviously the games will be a little bit less meaningful if the victory for the overall tournament is obtained, but we'll want to sort of pad the win rate out a bit more in our favour. These 2 are quite the jokers, so expect a lot of banter in the chat, which is good to see. So yeah, obviously Tarvalar's alluding to the fact that we don't know where Dracula is, but oh, behind the veil. Okay. Yeah, slightly unfortunate to have lost a fighting vamp, but possibly might have played one. I don't know if this is a hide or actually a move to go away. So yeah, hopefully from Dracula's perspective, obviously I want AndreZot to win here, so that's why I'll be talking. Oh wow. Okay, interesting. So we know it's a hide. That's actually kind of fascinating. So it's probably not a vampire then. I assume this is a hoax. But honestly, I know it sounds a bit weird that Dracula's been found this early, and it sucks that the surprise is ruined. But, you know, those second hide scouts, yeah, sure, they tell it to hide, so that might influence hunter movement and things. But it basically renders newspapers useless, so, you know, that's in that sense, that's kind of nice. Obviously, this is when now hunters don't draw newspaper reports. It is what it is. Obviously, this is a bit of a weakness of the Oktoberfest setup that Tarvalar is using. It's become a bit of the meta now in our community. So, yeah, because ordinarily if Van Helsing came to deal with this, then you're potentially leaving it open. The rest of the UK open. For Dracula to go into, but because Dracula's gone Dubway? Nice. Sorry, I'm tired. Dublin to Galway. It's maybe less likely that Dracula goes back into the UK, but he could be. And then you got Rufus Smith. Wow, that is. I mean, that's pretty unfortunate. Pretty unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's the only problem with Britannica gameplay. It can get foiled by things like Rufus Smith and the like, and obviously then hunters can kind of change tact a little bit because fast horses are not so relevant. So if fast horses are a bit slow to appear, it doesn't matter, whereas ordinarily it would. But yeah, weakness of Oktoberfest Star is that you don't have a hunter close to this coastline. Even if Sir starts in Madrid, he's only a 2 white, ticket away from Bordeaux, so he can sail across. So it's quite likely that this will mature. It just depends on what movement the hunters have and things. So you have to see. I would not be surprised here if Van Helsing moves across, but then that does then leave things open. Also depends on what the hide card is. Is there a forewarned for the hunters to deal with that? Or dogs, if it's a saboteur. So yeah, it's as simple as that in terms of the tournament. If, as Team Europe, we get 1 win out of the 5 games which are left, we win. If Team USA win all the 5 games, then they'll only gain enough points to draw. But then IDS is a tiebreaker, and currently we have the advantage, as you'd expect, because we've won more games. But the difference in IDS is not that large. So if you get especially a couple of really big hunter wins, that could really swing the win rate. So I have to see. Oh, hide scouts again. I mean, honestly, I don't mind this. If you're going to draw 1 hide scout, especially if it's island and you reveal it's island, so there's no like potential, trickery going on in terms of wolf form or whatever, then you just draw 2 more. Then those last 2 hide scouts are basically useless. They give you a little bit of information about the hide and stuff, but that's it. So AndreZot knows that then these are not going to be a threat later. There is still 1 more to get, but it can be quite tricky as Dracula if you know that none of the hide scouts have been drawn early, because then mid-game they could appear and they could just really they could just ruin everything. Is it recording? I think it's recording. And also I've just seen, I've cornered my eye. Yep, Mina Drew newspaper report. So this newspaper is now almost useless. It's not quite, because AndreZot might do like a wolf form here from North Atlantic, or go another sea space and then wolf form or something. So that newspaper would come in handy later, but obviously there's quite a delay in finding out the information. I don't know here what I would do as Drac. I mean, I'd be so tempted to go into the UK. If Van Helsing moves, you can take advantage. If he doesn't move, you can take advantage. But then, because maybe the hunters know that Dracula's nearby, then Van Helsing might obtain better events. And a number of times I've gone into the UK very early, and then I just get wrecked by consecrated crowd. But this early on, have the hunters drawn it? Maybe you have to take your bets that they're having, because there's been a lot of immediate events, that's the thing. You got newspaper, we know that. So there's one event over here, 3 over here, 2 over here, 1. You know, there's still quite a lot of event slots which have not been used up. Do they have all the Heavenly Host needed? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. So not quite sure what AndreZot has in mind. Probably didn't expect to get found so early. But maybe might have baked that into part of the plan. We'll have to see. At least we haven't been kept in suspense by where Dracula is, so that's kind of nice. I just turn up the game volume a little bit. Oh, it's at maximum. Okay. Right, let me tab out. If this is going to work or not. There's Rufus Smith. Okay, so another C move. Makes sense. Hopefully the music's not too loud now, but I think otherwise it's going to be too quiet. I can't remember the timing of this Galway. Was there a possibility of a dark call? But then you know the Rufus Smith is in play, so you're going to have to keep health in the bag. Okay, that is noteworthy because it's not English Channel. So we know AndreZot's not here. But you've got North Sea, Irish Sea, or South Atlantic still. And it looks like, yeah, Dublin's going to mature, and Galway possibly as well. There wasn't a desecrated soil in hand when we saw the behind the veil, but it could have got drawn. Oh, wait. She just got a horse. So was there a knife discarded? No. So there must be some switcheroo going on, which I missed. Still supplying. Makes sense. So yeah, the Huns are now starting to supply up. They're taking advantage of this sea movement. There's only other downside to this. So I mean, yeah, maybe you do avoid all this lot and you just go after Van Helsing, but then Van Helsing could have heroically planned ambushes and stuff, and then it's all very difficult for Dracula. Now Van Helsing has drawn things like horse. I haven't actually seen what Van Helsing's discarded. He's discarded a pistol, if I think that's Mina's discard. So if that's the case, he's got stuff equal or better than a pistol, so that's not great for Dracula. Dracula should be focusing on that, but then he could also just faceplant into it and break its stuff in a night fight. You just never know. Could even get like an enraged or something from a hoax mature. Okay, a wolf forming. So yeah, poor Dracula's lost basically a fifth of his health just by doing this. Again, this is why I say if anybody says that sea travel is OP, it really isn't once you start adding Rufus Smith into the mix. But even then, Rufus Smith already did 1 additional damage here. So, wow, okay, there's some good items over here then. You're discarding a rifle as well as a pistol. So, yeah, the risk of CG here is quite high in terms of having Heavenly Host on the right place. Because the problem, like, Huns could just luck into Consecrated Ground early, and then that just, yeah, could spell disaster. Oh, wow, and another search event? That's insane. That's mental. Not Santander. Okay, good check. Good check. Wait, it can't... I think Tarvalar might have miscounted here. I mean, it could have been Santander, but that means that AndreZot went South Atlantic and then fake wolf form to Santander. It's possible, because if you're counting the trail correctly, you would expect a wolf form after only one sea move. Galway is the west coast, not the east coast of Ireland. So, yeah, there's definitely... that was a very strange check, in my opinion, but... Dracula could have easily gone into, like, Saragossa here, and is now going to run around over Iberia. Get a feed in as well. Iberia can be a little bit tricky for Oktoberfest 2, depending on movement. If they've got fast horses and that sort of, they don't, you know, the rail connection. If there's a direct rail connection from Milan to Munich, it's great, but there isn't. So it can be a bit awkward if horses aren't cooperating. There's no ticket stuff going on, so I'm making the assumption then that Tarvalar has ticket economy, at least safe, not necessarily perfect. Some switcheroo of items, so there might be knives. Probably knives being traded unless there's like 2 heavenly hosts or something. Would I just dark hole here as AndreZot? Maybe. Maybe. Oh, a money trail. I didn't expect that to be played. Whoa. Okay, very luckily for Dracula, because Mina played it, there's no like consecrated ground follow up here. And then if you're really scared of consecrated ground, you just take devilish power, and that kind of solves the issue. Oh, never mind. You go for Manuel Hill's Heim because that's the fun option. There's one Dracula card on top, so you're guaranteed at least what? Whoa, 3? Oh, that's grand. Hopefully they're decent. Oh, and a full wand gone. Ooh, that's handy. And even good luck to a certain extent. Even though it's not great, but... Oh, hang a minute, how many good lucks have been discarded? 1, okay. I was just saying maybe allies could come into effect. Okay, feeding. So... Because the problem is Dracula's in a really vulnerable spot here. Because whatever location he's in, he could get CG'd off, at least either off the board, or out back to sea again, and you take a lot of damage for it. Unless he's just obtained a devilish power. But then, also depending on where it is, devilish power might not save you either. If it is Manchester, I'm trying to think about from a hunter perspective what you would do. You'd probably put the CG token then in London, because then if it is devilish power, then at least Dracula gets forced into Van Helsing. So you can do stuff after that. Bold move by Dracula here, but there is no consecrated ground, then it will work out, hopefully. 3 events, you know, Dracula can play around them. If Galway is a desecrated soil or something, you don't necessarily need points here. If it's a desecrated soil, then you can take some aggressive fights against Van Helsing. Vampire would be nicer, but it's not rumoured, unfortunately. What is the stakes situation? No stakes discarded. That is wild. I don't think I've ever seen people get that far through the deck without discarding stakes. And there must be at least, unless these 2 are both stakes, at least 2 would have been drawn already. Oh, fast horses have been taken off Mina. Interesting. So fast horses got given to Seward. Discarding pistol. Okay, there's a stake. Okay, okay. I didn't actually count how many cards got shuffled in. We could probably work out if we count, but I'm not going to bother. But still, you know, that's... you know, Dracula could just Dark Claw now if he really wanted to. Especially if he knows there's grid soil behind him that's going to mature. We're playing with the Dark Hole variant. If you don't know what it is, it's a house rule. So when Dracula plays Dark Hole, not only does he get the 5 encounters, but he also draws the top event card. Dracula cards are kept, and hand cards are discarded. So it's like almost like reverse Long Night, if that kind of makes sense. But there's no movement involved, so it's not really like Long Night at all. Never mind. So obviously Dracula has a hand size of limit of 4 events, right? So he could draw one now, because he's probably not going to get another one anytime soon. If he feels safe enough to feed where he is, then you'd probably Dark Hole, unless there's a risk of renewed vigor, and you get jumped on in Manchester by Van Helsing and Van Helsing and Godalming. Now Seward can't get there. He can't even get to London. Unless, can he charter carriage? 1, 2, 3. No, he can't even charter carriage his way there. No. So yeah, Seward can get as far as English Channel. But Godalming can get into Manchester. All right. Okay, I like the rumour. But Van Helsing probably has a stake, but that means then Van Helsing's combat strength is very weak. We would suspect. We don't know where the other horse is, so maybe this is a horse. And Tarvalar left Mina there because he knows that Mina will supply it today. Unless Van Helsing have a horse. If Van Helsing has a horse and a stake, then that's just amazing from Dracula's perspective. Okay, here comes Godalming. Is he in Edinburgh? Wouldn't be surprised if he's not. No, he's not. Oh, wow. Okay, so he's hidden in Manchester then? He must have devilish power. You don't play with fire like that unless you've got devilish power in your hand. Because you just get nuked off the board if you're not careful. Because the whole item deck's been gone through except for one item. So it means I'm going to supply the last Heavenly Host today, or the last horse, or something of that nature. The problem is you've used... Is Galway a vamp to clear Irish Sea? But then why would you rumour this then? I'm trying to work out what Dracula's game plan is here. Because if he moves to Irish Sea Coast now, then CG becomes relevant again. Because you could use all Heavenly Host tokens to force him off, and you put the opponent one in Dublin or something. We don't really want this rumour token vamp, assuming it's a vamp. Oh. Okay, that I didn't expect. Why would you just... If you're going to discard a fast horse, then you discard it right there. Why would you discard a Heavenly Host? I mean, maybe Van Helsing has another one already, but then that just makes CG weaker. Huh. The problem is this wolf form kind of acts like a token, because you can't misdirect it. Yeah, AndreZot was playing with fire here. He could get surrounded and just get forced off the UK. I have to be a bit careful. Could also just Dark Hole now. Honestly, I wouldn't mind that. Oh. Okay, that's really funky. I've never seen Fog be... Because unless a hunter was going to come across this way, but because Oktoberfest doesn't... Is this all planned? Was it... I mean, I like seeing early fogs being used like this. As sort of like as an aggressive card where you can suddenly block hunters from doing certain things, but... Oh, didn't move into Edinburgh. Whoa, what is going on? Is this like a fake wolf form and he's now in Manchester? I'm really confused. Clearly there's a game plan though, so I'm all here for it. I didn't expect a fog of all things. But I do really like, I mean, using fog as a first, look, I've done that in southern Italy where you put out a fog first and then a hoax after it. Fog either traps the hunter going in there or it matures and blocks them anyway. But that means then Dracula must have drawn that after Behind the Veil. So that's very fortunate timing. So AndreZot couldn't have planned that with, you know, a lot of anticipation, if that makes sense. And would anticipation work in this? I've got the Spanish word in my head, like with foresight. Because didn't have fog in starting hand. Okay. Oh, wolf form to Swansea. Wow, that is a ballsy move. Holy shit. That is, So what do you do now then? Do you misdirect Liverpool and go back to Liverpool? You can't hide in Manchester, unfortunately. You could just go into Edinburgh and you can skip combat with Gaddafi, then you leave, but the problem is now the hunters know that there's a fog being used, right? So if there's a second fog, it's vulnerable to forewarned. But one forewarned did get discarded thanks to Manuel Hildesheim, so yeah, I don't know. That dynamic's gonna be very interesting. The good thing is now for Dracula can go back to Irish Sea coast. Good, Irish Sea will be here, and then next turn, you know, Irish Sea would fall off. So there's no risk now of consecrated ground being a problem. AndreZot's dodged that really, you know, awkward situation. But there must be a devilish power in here, because I don't think you'd do this otherwise. Yeah, you either go into Edinburgh or you misdirect. No, you've gone into... Okay, that makes sense, because now basically Seward's moved over for kind of nothing. But there are only 3 encounters in here, though, so that's the issue. Swansea, I assume, can get dealt with pretty easily if there's a stake on Van Helsing. Unless this is a ruse. There's like an aristocratic, and then you got a fighting vamp after it or something. Oh, wait. Dracula's going into combat with Gaddafi? What? Why would you do that? You've got basically a safe turn that you can kind of do whatever you want. Okay. I mean, it is a day combat, but that benefits hunters. That benefits the hunters. So I don't understand why you do this. If you want to do it at night, do it at night, but maybe he wants to try and get a bit of healing done, because Aggie's not in play. But the fact Tarvalar's using planned ambush here for a day combat, you know, that's somewhat of a win. Unless there's a heroic leap hanging around, or another planned ambush that can get traded, or an escape route even. Okay. Basically, that planned ambush was a glorified escape route. Not bad. You know, again, that's a small win for Dracula, so yeah, I'll take it. Didn't go badly. Could have gone better and got healing, but good army supplies. Makes sense, because there's nothing else he can do. It's probably the worst hunter to trap, because at least Van Helsing and Mina, they have innate weaknesses that you can sort of capitalize on, but Sword and Gadami are harder. Sword with the more items and Gadami with the more health. It's very tricky to kill them. Sorry, defeat them, because they don't use the word kill in the game. Because they come back to life. What do you do with Sword here? Do you move in? I guess you do, because Sword could go and deal with Swansea. It's not a complete waste. I do know that AndreZot likes a fake rumour, so I would not be overly surprised if there's like a hoax or something in Swansea. Okay, so it's going that way. But the problem is, if Dracula goes into North Sea today, then Sword either has to land or has to commit to North Atlantic. So you're kind of moving ahead of Dracula, but in a way that's a bit awkward. I guess if Dracula lands, you can just move back North Sea and then land, but then you're giving Dracula basically a 2-day head start. Okay, so Van Helsing must have a stake. There's no way he doesn't. Especially with the item distribution that we've seen, right? Still no stakes discarded. I've never seen that. Well, not in a long time anyway. There's normally at least one stake discarded just because of distribution, of just how the items fall for you. Okay, so going in for the fight again. This could be risky, but Godalming doesn't seemingly have, heroic leap or escape routes, so that's again another risk that's worked out in Dracula's favour. There's no wolf form. You can't really stay put, so I'm not quite sure. Unless he can somehow kill Godalming. That could work out. Strength into a dodge. Okay. Well, at least Godalming's still in the combat. Again, I'm viewing it from Dracula's perspective, because I want Dracula to win here. But, still dodging a strength, though, is good for hunters. It's... Again, Godalming's just not going to die here, so I think the best you can do as Dracula is just try to get a Fang in as Godalming escapes, or even just try and get a bite. That might just be the most you can ask for here. Claws into escape. Okay, good play by hunters, and Dracula got the most out of it as possible. Maybe didn't draw Fangs, which is entirely possible. But yeah, just because of the fact that Manchester couldn't, there's no hide possible in Manchester. It's all a bit awkward that you got one more turn before Wolfform comes back. Yeah, because you'd love to just Wolfform now into London. The fact that Seward's committed over this way. Oh, it was a fake. It was a mob. Oh wait, did Van Helsing reveal a stake? Did I miss that? What is going on? You must reveal the stake there, because if I was a fighting vamp, you have to. Maybe Tarvalar's played quite a lot against AndreZot. Has just kind of realised, oh well, there's no ambush. AndreZot normally ambushes, so it has to be. What do you do now as Dracula? That's the problem. You do have to go to sea. Ah, yes, such a shame, because like you could have done a wolf form into London, and then suddenly you got a beaten up Van Helsing. Seward's on the wrong side. Yeah, that's a real shame. But it's okay. It's fine. I suppose you can't wolf form back into Manchester. Maybe there might have to be like a misdirect into Edinburgh or something, and then a wolf form down to London. Especially if Seward lands here. If Seward lands in Hamburg or Amsterdam, I would just be misdirecting Edinburgh, going straight back into it. Again, it is a huge risk because of consecrated ground, but yeah, if you got Devilish Power in hand, maybe you just have to hope they'll work out fine. But especially if these two get beaten up tomorrow by these encounters, they can't take advantage and jump on top of you. Yeah. Oh, wow. Had no idea. And then you can keep the Rumour token in Swansea and put like double Vampire, and then you basically get that Rumour token back for free. Like alone it is. Excellent deduction. So yeah, it's oh, there's a stake there. Interesting. Oh wow, so Godalming's really not equipped to be dealing with Drac. That's very interesting. Yeah, maybe just risk it. The fact that Manchester never got CG'd, maybe you just risk it and misdirect and go into Edinburgh and just call that bluff. There is a way that Tarvalar could play this with Devilish Power that would make it, so that Drac would take penalty damage, but you'd have to put a CG token and a Heavenly Host token in the same place. So say both in Manchester, say, and then the Heavenly Host token in Edinburgh, because Devilish Power can only remove CG tokens. If there was a rework of the game, I would like it that Devilish Power could remove Heavenly Host tokens as well. I think having that flexibility is very important. But alas, we cannot do that. So, yeah, I'll just call that bluff, honestly, and just misdirect Edinburgh. No! Oh, man, I think that's a missed opportunity, honestly. I think that's a really missed opportunity here. Seward has just disappeared. He's going to have to spend 2 more turns getting back. Sure, there could be a second excellent weather and renewed vigor, but I think you have to sort of hedge your bets there isn't. If you can get away with that, if you're really worried about it, put fog down. But yeah, that's just me. I mean, Dracula can still go into London now. But it's not quite the same. I guess it has the advantage that you don't know exactly where Dracula is, so they have to go looking. But London's probably the first place they would look. Although the advantage would be that, excellent weather to London would be impossible from where Seward's, current position is. Oh, that's probably a hypnosis scan thingy being set up. Yeah, maybe just land in London. Yeah, these 2 hunters could jump in on top of you, but Van Helsing has been beaten up a bit, and Gadami has a stake. And does he have a horse? I think he revealed a horse earlier, right? So, yeah, he's not really much of a threat to you from the perspective of combat and things. So yeah. I still think just going to Edinburgh would have been the better move, honestly, but I could be wrong. That's when suddenly CG kills you and you're in a right bit of trouble. And then also without misdirect, you couldn't misdirect Manchester, so basically Manchester's always permanent. Okay. What? Why Wolf? I mean, I guess there's more ground to cover, but has Dracula actually got into like Santander now? I think Britannica was the idea here. You don't want to be near these 2 hunters or give them even an opportunity to get close to you. I don't know where the 3rd horse is. I'm a bit confused because Mina seemingly doesn't have it unless she's supplied it. She's only showing a stake, but that's even better because then you're showing. Has Swansea been cleared? No, Swansea hasn't been cleared, so we know it's not UK unless it's Plymouth, which would be hilarious. So Dracula have to hide and then I guess feed, and hopefully by then Gadami would have left that location. And then you just start running around all these layers again. And again, if you've got Devilish Power, you're not going to fear Consecrated Ground in the same way, especially since this wolf form is quite a bit out of the way. So it's not going to act like another permanent token. Sister Agatha. Well, quite good to equip, because Dracula's probably not going to go see movement again, but a search is also not a bad choice either, especially if it's a return in play. There's a lot of places where Dracula could be here. Oh, haven't you sent some emergency just to get to Paris? Yikes. Yikes, 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 yikes. Yikes indeed. Well, again, there are 2 ways you can kind of think about this, right? Because there's no speed telegraph, Hypnosis is going to be played last. So they can't play Hypnosis and then Consecrated Ground. Consecrated Ground will have to be a turn after. So Yeah, I'm still thinking about the because that's the thing, right? As much as Dracula's been running around and has got 3 events, which is obviously very good, you know, has lost, you know, 7 health down and has no points. So it's going to be quite a lot of work, especially to sort of work around these two. Especially Seward, because he could be stacked to the rafters with good stuff. He's in Gallia. Okay, then. So, you know, you're looking at Toulouse or Clonferrand most likely. It could be Le Havre to be tricky. But then there's a risk of, you know, if you're going towards, you know, North Sea direction, then you could get pushed out to North Sea if it's still on the trail. Don't know. Oh, roadblock. Okay. Yeah, again, that... Oh, wait. Where did that... Wait, hang on. Okay, so we've got roadblocks on the rail to Bordeaux, the road to Nantes, and the road to Clonferrand. Kind of makes sense because you know Mina seemingly doesn't have a horse. So, yeah, that really restricts what she can do. And they might just stay put and psychic scan. That is also something they might just do here. Because then you know if it's negative, then it's either Santander or it could be Germania, right? Because it could be a wolf to Brussels. Yeah, yeah. There's quite a lot of places Dracula could be, right? Could be. I know Santander got. No, Santander got ruled out yesterday, right? So it could have been a fake wolf to Bordeaux. Hmm. If Dra okay. It's a tricky one. If you're going Clermont-Ferrand, where exactly do you go, right? Because you could be in Geneva now. You're going to Zurich. Sorry. Seward could jump on you. Same with Milan with rail tickets. Could go into Genoa. Could go into Genoa now and goes down the boot. That's definitely a possibility. Well, this game's been played at one hell of a pace, by the way. That's 50 minutes for 2 weeks. That's, yeah, very fast. There's not been a lot of encounters to deal with. There's been a lot of sea spaces. Yeah, Drac has to try and sneak in a feed at some point. I don't know how or when that's going to be. If you do it too soon, then these hunters might jump on you too early. But if you leave it too long, hunters might catch up to you. Well, there's a vampire lair. Obviously not relevant now because Draca doesn't have influence. But yeah, that basically means, yeah, Draca's going to have to get 15 influence to win. Oh, did I misread the previous scan? Did it say he wasn't in Gallia or he was in Gallia? I don't remember it being all caps. Oh my goodness, I am very tired, guys. Well, he's in Gallia now. That's the most important thing. So if he wasn't... I don't remember it being all caps before, so maybe it wasn't. So if that's the case. Did he... What did you do? It wasn't Santander. Is that even possible? No, that's impossible. No, that's impossible. So it must have been Gallia last turn. Okay, so... It's not Geneva, not Santander, not some sort of like Brussels to Cologne shenaniganry. Brussels to Strasbourg to Nuremberg could be kind of fun. Now I'm just saying put. He's got horses. You really need horses over on that side. This game's been so weird, right? The fact that stakes haven't been used, or haven't been discarded, but then... I don't know. But then Van Helsing simply didn't have a stake? I don't know. Does Sword have like double stake or something? That can't be right. Anyway, now Sword's slow rolling, so this guy will work really well for AndreZot, or it could work really badly. I hope Dracula's now in like Nuremberg or something. What? I don't know if I would have checked that place, of all places. Is it a potential worry of doing, like, something like Clermont-Ferrand non-Le Havre trick? You'd be mad to do that, especially with Gadami over here. He could just X and weather his way over if you're not careful. You can't psychic scan anymore? Oh, I don't know. Well, Van Helsing's coming over, so that, you know, from a hunter's perspective, that's good. You got another body in here, especially if he has a horse. Then, but if Dracula's like now in Genoa, say, then that's just amazing. That's just amazing for him. You can even just risk going to Florence now, because the chance of them just randomly using Consecrated Ground on you is just highly unlikely. Or there's a risk that they use it and you're in Venice and you just escape all the effect of it. You can't feed, but you know, you can just leave and then feed him for Loner or something. Yeah, I'd go down the boot, personally. Just leave a really irritating trail, get a rumour token down. Potentially put like bats and things on, you know, in Genoa and Florence, or even a Fog or something, and just make it so hard for the hunters to get in here to actually deal with these encounters. Or if they do, they just spend so much time then you're just freely running around the east then afterwards. Wax Cylinders is good. Okay, I was about to say I didn't expect Dracula to hide. I don't think hiding in Strasbourg would have been the play that I would have gone for, but fair enough. But yeah, this is now actually kind of... Is it bad though? Well, Mina doesn't have horses, seemingly, so... And you can easily just Falker or something, so you know you haven't got full warn to worry about. I was really hoping that Dracula would be further away than Strasbourg. So I was right about Strasbourg, but I just assumed Dracula had moved out. Why would you hide? Were you expecting Mina just to randomly bump her way in or something? Like, to wander in? Huh. I don't know, Don't know. So it's Brussels then, is the wolf form location. But yeah, Gadami's not going to be able to really deal with Brussels, I don't think. 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you want to hide to protect the vampire, make... Ah, okay. Okay, I see. You want to create a location that is just so troublesome to deal with. But the risk is they might just ignore it and catch you before this even matures. Unless there's an unearthly swiftness. So Dracula benefits twofold by getting further distance, but also then this thing matures faster. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen any bats yet. Bats are really impactful here. Yeah, the Huns have just been drawing quite a lot of Dracula cards since the reshuffle. Oh, not the reshuffle, but the shuffle after the hoax. They're still over halfway through the deck. That's pretty good, though. The problem is the more and more cards that AndreZot reveals, then the less likely it is that Dracula has something like a devilish power to counter something like, you know, Consecrated Ground. I wouldn't be trying to play sneaky and going this way, because Van Helsing's going to cut you off. So, yeah, just go safe and just do like Nuremberg, Munich, Zagreb, Szeged, or something like that. Stay close to the castle to avoid, you know, potential CG issues. can't put a CG in Bucharest, but you can't put it in Klausenburg, for example. So you got a nice free move there. Yeah, remember, Rufus Smith is in play. Layers are in the UK, so nothing to worry about there. Yeah, I think there's a world where going back to the UK was definitely an option. Stake on. Okay, good to hit that with Seward because of the damage. It actually makes this 7 counters in Strasbourg more troublesome. So he's gonna have to sit still and sort of heal up and stuff before he can even go and tackle Strasbourg. Or maybe another hunter does it instead. Still one Dracula card we don't know about. It is almost 4th week though. Hunters have to get a shift on here. They've got this encounters, well, these 3 encounters to do with Strasbourg, which are could be cumbersome. I mean, I assume they're mistakes, but if you've got 2 vamps and you've got a bats, that might cause some issues. If they get distracted on this too long, then Dracula just runs away for free. Will form be back in 2 turns. Yeah, it's actually looking better for Dracula than I thought it would be, considering the height in Strasbourg. Oh, it's a custom search. Oh man, that's really unfortunate. But might not be terrible if it's somebody like Mina trying to get across from Munich into Zagreb, say. Okay, no sneaky business. At least not going to Geneva anyway. She'll have to keep a state for Vampire Layer, so I assume she won't deal with Strasbourg. Is Kadami going to deal with Strasbourg? But once he gets battered away. Okay, so that's going to be for a I assume a Psychic Scan? Unless Van Helsing's going to obtain double stake to deal with this. Does he have a forewarn to deal with the hide card? Whatever it may be. Sense of... Oh yeah, we saw a Sense of Emergency got used earlier, of course. That could be... Where's the... I'm so confused. Where's the horse? Does... Gadami has to have the horse. So Van Helsing must have supplied a horse, and then 2 horses got sent over, basically. And I know so it backtracked very quickly, but... That must be what happened. Even more reason to stay in the UK if you suspect there are 2 horses over here. Because then the combat, and then there's a state got revealed as well. Just combat strength is just non-existent. Yeah, the fact that Tarvalar played a planned ambush in a day fight to only escape. Yeah, Gadami didn't. Gadami was not pungent. He was not well equipped, seemingly. You either play planned ambush for a night fight to be defensive, or you play during a day fight because you want to get stuff done. Wow, Dracula's ability to counter is not as good. Okay, event trade. That's pretty significant. Okay, not Italy. Okay, that's a good scan. That's a good scan because it could have easily been Milan. Now, it's only really Milan is the possibility. Well, it could be Zurich as well. But that doesn't mean, you know, Dracula could be in Marseille. He could have passed through Zurich, or he could be now going from Munich into Venice, say. Yeah, I think Dracula might have this actually. I hate to say GG before it's GG. I mean, Dracula has to do a lot of moves in the 4th week, that's for sure. but certainly has the advantage in terms of distance right now. If the other hands can catch up pretty quickly, you might only need one. You might even need just like a good 1v1 fight with Sister Agatha in play, and that might be enough to kill Dracula because he hasn't fed, and is like what, 8 HP. You know, you can kill Dracula with one hunter with that. You know, if things just go your way. Planned ambush would be kind of handy too. Or just get a kind of a half decent fight and then heroic leap afterwards. Same Strasbourg is not in Germania because then you could block Gadami from even coming in here. I feel you have. I mean, I know AndreZot could be playing sneaky, and that's very possible. But oh, he didn't. Okay, right. So maybe he has gone sneaky. Wait. Oh. Oh. Oh no, is Mina gonna get pushed into 2 or 3 vampires? Oh no. Right. Oh no. Oh no. So Dracula went Marseille. I did say he could have sneaked through and it transpired that way. So where's Dracula now? In Toulouse? Oof. Yeah, Mina could die here. Because you know she hasn't got an escape route, she's got a stake. So 2 combat items at best. It's a night fight. All it takes is just the right combo and then she just gets bitten. Great strength is also a possibility, but I think you need to try it anyway. I think you need to push her into Strasbourg. Yep, there you go. Maybe not reveal the high card, just in case somebody else moves in. Oh, never mind. Wow, okay. Okay, so she can actually... Wow, that's actually kind of... She can deal with... If there is 2 fighting vamps, she can deal with both of them. So that's the only downside with Bat. AndreZot's actually end up pushing 2 stakes into a double vampire location. But if you can kill Mina, then problem solved. Oh man, would I have thrown out Heavenly Host there? Maybe, you know. Actually, this is kind of bad for Mina because you know she's got no knife, no anti-fang thing. As Dracula here, if you can plot, does Mina risk the punch? Ones with Mina punches and just gets fanged. Plotting makes a lot of sense. Yeah. In the long run, that's actually not bad for Dracula because I'd rather see that situation than fang to dodge. Because you might have blown your only fang, whereas here you've plotted. Yeah, the blowing hasn't worked, but now you might have picked up at the second fang just now. Or you can just mesmerize if you want to, right? You can delay things. Fang now. Good. Okay, right, this has to be a great strength then, if that's the case. Okay. But hey, that is still a point of influence. Because it's a... Oh, it's 2 points of influence. Of course it is, because it's Mesmerize Fang, and then an Ambush Fang. You don't see that very often. That's actually it's really neat. Really, really neat. And that is relevant, right? Because Dracula now only has to move, you know, has to move 1 day fewer in the 4th week. Because we assume both stakes will get used on these vamps, and then Vampire Letter suddenly becomes this card that is going to have to get traded around, and it might not get done in time. Fang immediately. Okay, unfortunately there's no Mesmerize, but hey, another point of influence, not bad at all. But both these vampires are going to get staked here. So yeah, not the big boost in influence that AndreZot would be hoping for. But hey, 3 influence is 3 influence. Not terrible at all. If Vampire Lair does get played, you know, that 1 influence will still remain, and that's relevant. So yeah, Dracula has to move 4 days in the final week to win. That's now the win condition. Dracula has to survive those days. Try to feed prior to the 4th week, if possible. Because the Hunters now know they can deal with Strasbourg very, very quickly. With Mina, right, because she'll become underlaid and she'll stake them at night. Okay, having another vamp is, if this is a vamp, then that's really good. Just puts a bit more pressure on. Yeah, see, that's the thing. The horses were over here. I really feel there was something to be done there with the UK, but fair enough. It's working out anyway. Wait, why? Wait. Oh no. Okay, so sorry. I misspoke. It could be Marseille, but it could also be Munich. Sorry. It is Munich. Okay, so Dracula has gone east. Classic. Okay, fine. No funny business with Dracula going to Toulouse. Okay. Desecrated soil. Why would you ambush when it's a rumor token? Was that a misclick? Please tell me that was a misclick. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that was worth it. But never mind. Getting rotation of cards is really good here. Dracula's going to reset the deck, so then suddenly that... well, we know that Dracula must have the second fog now. We haven't seen it at all. So, you know, that's good defense. Huns are down a forewarned, so they might not have the second one. Yeah. I think just Dracula has to play really safe here. You can sort of skirt around the castle. I wouldn't go into Castle Dracula here, just in case, right? Because it takes the CG and renewed vigor, and then suddenly you've got a few problems. It's not the 4th week yet, so you can't even try and get a 1v1 fight, and then you escape as bat or something. But I just go to Klausenberg because Klausenberg is really safe. You can't get CG'd off it. Hyde being back for the 4th week is relevant. Mina has a stake now. Yeah, there you go. Not often you see double stake being used either, actually. That's a neat little series of play there with these recklesses. There you go. Nicely done. So yeah, that was clearly some very interesting item distribution. Double stake wasn't expected. Yeah. I mean, it somewhat makes sense, right? Because we only saw 1 stake over here. Van Helsing never revealed a stake. So Seward has a stake, but then there has to be another one kicking around, right? Mina had one, but I think once you start counting, I think Mina had to have the stake. But that requires very careful observation of the item deck before and after the reset. So maybe that was predictable. That is the risk of bats, that you push them into the encounter, they can just deal with it more easily. But never mind, it is what it is. So yeah, it's just going to be an old-fashioned chase to the 4th week, and into the 4th week. No vampire matures. Yeah, Dracula will be very happy for those reckless vampire points. Ooh, interesting. Did Dracula actually go down the boot? I'll be so proud if that's the case. Wow, he actually did. Oh. See, now he's in Rome. Oh, do you use? Maybe. Oh, that's his current location. Wait, what? Oh, I don't know. I would have used custom search there. I'm trying to remember. Oh, now I've actually looked at this today. Custom search is you become delayed and then you discard all items or you take 3 damage. So surely you just do that because you could try and kill Van Helsing here. And that just makes everything so much easier. So yeah, you bring back Aggie, but maybe Dracula will avoid the fight. Nope. Nope, it's combat's happening. I would use custom search there. Van Helsing's down 3 health. The delay doesn't matter because the fog delays anyway. Yeah, because then you can just stay and feed and try and kill him. Yeah, I think that's a really missed opportunity there. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe there's some other plan with the custom search. I assume it's custom search and not wild horses. No, but wild horses triggers on fast horses. It has to be custom search. Yeah, I would have. But maybe it's a case of also not knowing exactly what the card does. We don't see custom search every day. Gotta be careful because if Van Helsing plays an absolute blinder, Dracula could die here. That's the thing. Like if custom search are triggered, there's no way Van Helsing discards items. So he's suddenly down to 2 health now, and you know Great Chafer's gone. So any sort of damage will kill him. And you're not having to then think about, oh, I need double claws and all this sort of thing. But we'll see. Fang. Okay. But Dracula doesn't heal off that. Oh man, you know what I mean? Like Van Helsing would be dead now if that custom search had triggered. Well, Dracula can feed now, right? And he's very, very safe. He's got a whole turn, he can just feed right now. Because Van Helsing's delayed, maybe you find him again? Let's think, if Van Helsing... Maybe you don't want to kill Van Helsing now, maybe you do want to kill him tomorrow because you'll get an extra point of influence. It's 2 plus the number of despair tokens. 1, 2, 3. No, it actually doesn't matter. Yep, Dracula feeds. Makes a lot of sense. And now can get points. So, yeah, I mean, if in the end, you know, if Dracula can kill Van Helsing here, then you just wolf form. Then suddenly, you know, it's looking pretty good. The renewed vigor, I understand. Even though you're not going to be able to use it to jump on Dracula right now. If Van Helsing dies, it's lost. So, you may as well just play it, and you can maybe try and reposition or supply and reposition or something. You know, you can. There are certain things you can do with it. Maybe Dracula would want to keep custom search as a backup in case, like, depending on how other things went later. If you don't manage to kill Van Helsing, then you got custom search for later. But the problem is custom search doesn't trigger on fast horses, so the fact that there's such a good opportunity that you've used it. In my world, custom search should trigger on fast horses. So there you go. You've drawn 2 claws. Okay, that's really good. Yeah. Okay, nicely done, Dracula. Good stuff. Good job. Good job. Oh, yeah, good job playing the knife there, just because we don't know if there is a gun. Again, maybe if we done careful counting, we might have known. But no. Oh, now it's a bit of a theme in our community, especially when AndreZot's around, that we start complaining about Italian cities. AndreZot is Italian, by the way, in case anyone as a Italian citizen, he has the right to complain about his own country. And now Tarvalar. So Tarvalar's now jumping in. Yeah, this is yeah, it's tough. I mean, as Dracula, you just wolf form here. You can't stay put because that fog's going to disappear. Maybe just go to Rome. Again, it's a bit predictable, but... So that's the second fog. So I guess the question is... It's unlikely that Dracula's drawn the third one already, but you just never know. But the fact that reshuffle just happened, nah, it's... Yeah, 1 in 18 chance, I think, so... Yeah, unlikely there is fog for this turn. This way you need unearthly swiftness, can you just win that way. But it worked out, right, because Dracula was able to kill Van Helsing without using custom search. So custom search here might be relevant. It's looking good. It's looking good for our vamp. Only has to survive 1 day, basically. Obviously this one nothing's going to happen because he's trapped in fog, or surrounded himself in fog very well. So just basically what happens tomorrow. Can hunters find him or not? It's looking very good for Team Europe here. Very, very good. And now the spectators are coming in. I don't know if that means the other game is finished. Or they just wanted to join in. Yeah, locking a wolf form location. That makes sense. I assume Jack is just going to wolf form to Rome. That's what I would do. Again, it's a bit predictable, but you need... I'm going to assume that the hunters don't have a second renewed vigor. If they do, they would have only very, very recently drawn it. So what did Dracula do? Oh, Dracula did go... No, he didn't go Marseille. Munich was when Italy was scanned. So then it was Milan, Genoa, Venice. You know Mina's not relevant because she doesn't have any sort of movement card. If she had another event, you think, oh, maybe there could be a renewed vigor. She could rail and then... Didn't she just pick up a ticket? Or did she chuck it back in? I think she chucked it back in. She could rail down to Marseille, then send some emergency to Rome or something. Yep. Good. Good. Okay, so we know it's not Zurich. Oh man, Heavenly Host and Knife, yeah, that's a strong hand. That's where the planned ambush would become really handy. Yeah. Oh, newspaper. Newspaper reports, very nice. Very nice. Long night. Long night not relevant, unfortunately. Because of the way it works. But never mind, you just play it anyway. I mean, it kind of means that, you know, hunters don't have forewarn and stuff, but... Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, she had 2 states where couldn't use Vampire Lair, but then she would have given up more influence, right? Could have easily magicked a stake off the event deck, or off the item deck rather, with Renewed Vigor last turn. Best hidden schemes. Yeah, it's definitely a good one. I was skeptical. The spy reveal was pretty good, because it tells you a lot about, you know, you can go into the fight knowing what the hands are going to do. It's very nice. Oh, I was hoping that Van Helsing would move out into Rome and Jack would be sitting there. Oh, GG's. Good job, AndreZot. AndreZot's really come into his own this tournament on Drac, though. I think is that 4 Dracula wins now? Oh wow, Vampiric Influence. Oh, 2 pistols but no stakes. Unfortunate. Yeah, I think that's 4 wins now for Dracula, for AndreZot. Very much keeping the Dracula win rate respectable. It's really nice then, if that's the case, that if Team Europe have won the tournament, you know, this is the match that clinched it, then it's on a Dracula win. My Dracula has taken quite a beating this tournament, but in recent weeks has been, you know, doing much better. Oh hey, it's forewarned. Oh wow, the second one. I mean, look. You get revealed turn 1, who cares? Yeah, the dollar note was mental. Let's end and never see that. Isn't worth the visit. Oh no. Bari. Oh no. Is there any city in Italy in the game that is worth visiting? Who knows? Well, my wife went to Naples and spoke quite highly of it. Oh, GG's everybody. Yeah, I was surprised you didn't use that on Van Helsing in Venice. There you killed him anyway. Yeah, that was huge. Discarding that was huge. But also 3 Dracula events. I mean, you know, that's not often that you see that. I think the fact that there wasn't a Devilish Power and all that, that then does justify the decision to not go into the UK again. Yeah, so that makes sense. You don't want to take that risk, right, where you got 2 weak hunters and think, oh, I could maybe pick them off or beat them up or whatever, and Seward's committed over there. But then you suddenly get CG'd off, and then you've lost all that advantage. Oof. I was hoping so. Wait, did you have CG then? Oh, did you have CG then? Or maybe it was an excellent weather. Yeah, if you don't have Devilish Power, that makes complete sense why you just don't do that. I think CG would have been played at a slightly earlier time. In fact, there's the Manchester. CG draw came late. Wow, okay, yeah. I think it was worth the risk. If you don't get CG in Manchester, then you're probably quite safe. Okay. Is it only excellent weather? Interesting. Yeah, you don't want to undo all your hard work, but then the problem is if you go to the mainland, you might allow the Huns to sort of recover a bit. If Mina had movement, you know, that could have been devastating. Because you just get 2 hunters on you, one bad round in combat, and suddenly you can't win. Imagine that soon Mina would have met you, so I see it in France to mislead him thinking. Yeah, the fact that it was a sense of emergency had to get used to play Hypnosis. I feel maybe in a situation like that, I know you want to play Hypnosis, but maybe you should move Seward towards Mina, do the Hypnosis, and then you got sense of emergency as the backup. Yeah, clearly, yeah. Item issues are, you know, items can cause a real problem. You got 2 heavily hose on Van Helsing, but then nothing else. He can just get wrecked by things like bodyguards and walls. So rightly so, Tarvalar played that very well to stay put. Just don't bother chasing after Island if you don't know what you're going to get yourself into. Too many horses. Yeah, Van Helsing drew the horse. Yeah. Yeah, true, there's also so horse in there as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's there's a lot of minute things, and yeah, this is actually really interesting how Oktoberfest start didn't solve the issues of the items. But I said it before, it doesn't matter what setup you use, if you use Mine or Pizza Wizard or Superhero or Oktoberfest or whatever, whichever hunter is isolated in the UK, if they draw something like the horse, then it doesn't matter what your setup is, you can't avoid that, right? And if you say, oh, we switch hunters, well, it doesn't matter, right? Whichever hunter in the UK, if they're there, if they draw horses, that's a real problem. I'm just going to say goodnight to these people. Oh. Running up tomorrow. Oh, wow. Appropriate given what happened in the game, but yeah, very unfortunate. Just PTSD now of Venice. Oh dear, that's really unfortunate. Especially coming all the way from the States. And you catch COVID. Ah, oh, that's very unfortunate. Oh dear. We're gonna have to get like AndreZot onto the channel, and he has to do like a breakdown of all the Italian cities in the game and his thoughts on them. He clearly has some strong opinions. Oh well. GG's. Congratulations, Team Europe. We are victorious. Hopefully that doesn't spoil all the other games coming up. But hey, it's more Fury of Dracula. And obviously Team USA will want to very much not let the winning margin be too big, so every game is up for grabs still. And also for win rates and things. But it's been a very interesting sort of format tournament, sort of our own version of Ryder Cup, and we had some issues at the beginning in terms of we didn't have as many participants as I hoped / expected, so it was a little bit touch and go if we're going to actually run with the numbers that we did, but it's kind of worked out how I hoped in terms of just, you know, everybody sort of embracing the different setup and things. So yeah, and it's all been good fun, and we've got some different matchups that we haven't seen before, and people like Tarvalar and AndreZot, who I think they both play in the same tournament for the first time? No, I don't think so. AndreZot started a little bit before Tarvalar, but these are two people who've come into the tournament um, within the last sort of 18 months, couple of years, and well, yeah, 18 months to a year, and have really improved since then, and they're really good fun, and they're really good vibe around the community, which is what we want. So, excellent stuff all round. Definitely a tricky game for the Hun side, but yeah, if the items just fall slightly awkwardly, it's really tough. Especially then it's the UK, and you have to send somebody out over and then backtrack and all this sort of thing. Tough one all round. Maybe probably a good thing that Dracula didn't go there, because wrong encounter gets placed and suddenly Van Helsing hits you too heavily first. That would have been rough. So yeah. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this commentary was somewhat okay. And yeah, it looks like I have a game of my own, which will be, you're going to be seeing this on Thursday. So then later on Thursday, I'm going to be playing my game. So then probably on Friday, you'll see that recording. So I'm playing against Randiv, and I'm playing as Dracula. So if you like more Dracula gameplay, and hopefully Dracula victory, then you know where to watch. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. And remember, do join the community. We're talking a lot of stuff, because obviously the 5th edition's been announced, so we're chatting about that. We're chatting about stuff that we would change about the game, memes, talking to the devs, all that good stuff. So links down below in the description. See you next time, everybody.